There's bearings in everything. If you look at an automobile, there's probably 100 bearings in an automobile. Video games, that type of thing. And these are all industries that Shuster Corporation serves. We've got such a broad product line, such a broad customer base, such a broad channel to the market with our Motion Industries partnership that we can virtually touch any industry that you can imagine.
The Shuster Corporation was started in 1916 by Simon Shuster, and we're here in New Bedford, Massachusetts, which is known as the Whaling City. And back in the 1800s, New Bedford was known as the whaling capital of the world. And the Shuster Corporation today, it provides services to distribution, to the local market, and to most primarily to Motion Industries. We're still a bearing manufacturer or a distributor of all major lines of PT, and we continue to work here in the city and in the state and in the country to provide services for our customers.
A big part of our function in the past was to provide hard-to-find bearings. But now, as we've been evolving our business model, we've become a more important supplier to Motion Industries with standard packaged products as well as any specialty items. We've got a lot of OEM accounts who rely on us for our expertise. And really what we do is we look at providing solutions to our customers. And those solutions can take on a lot of different faces. When we work with an OEM on bearing products, we become their bearing department. They don't need to have engineers. They don't need to have technical staff. They can rely on Shuster to provide all of that for them. So as their bearing department, we are competitively priced for what their requirements are. We have the inventory that they need. We have the technical expertise to help them out. So a lot of our OEMs don't need to have a bearing department. They can rely on Shuster.
We have such a wide customer base and product line that we're able to adapt to different economic times and deal with situations and continue to grow. Ability to have our extensive inventory that we have a wide range and a large inventory in stock and ready, and we're able to help a lot of times the next day emergency guys that are calling up that we can ship same day just from the inventory level that we're carrying.
The advantage of Shuster is that we can make anything. If we can't find it, it's only 3-4 months to get the thing made. And in a lot of cases where a major bearing supplier is out of stock or a customer has a custom requirement, that's a good lead time.
We just don't go to a customer if we call on a customer or if a customer comes to us for a certain application. We look at the application engineering-wise. And if you're talking examples, we had a customer in the food industry that it's a canning industry, and they had to, every 20 minutes, they'd have to stop the machine, take the bearings out, and relube them every 20 minutes. And we replaced it with a bearing that now allows them to run 20 hours without relubrication. And now they're running out, I could get you the numbers, but it's 20,000 cans more an hour than they were before.
I think we like to think of every new inquiry as a not-so-common application, even if it's something that we think we've heard before. Using a standard plain vanilla ball bearing, we see each customer as having their own specific need for that, and we like to delve into exactly what they're using it for.
One of the major industries that we've been able to participate in, largely because of our engineering capability and our sourcing capability, is the fracking pump industry. TX03 asked us to get involved with one of the major OEMs in the fracking industry.
Several years ago, a customer of ours who builds frac pumps sent us an inquiry for the cylindrical roller bearings used to support the crankshafts for the pump. Motion had acquired Shuster a year earlier, and I'd had some good results with them, so I got them involved with this opportunity. Shuster was prompt in their response with drawings, delivery of first article components, and ultimately production quantities. When requested, they provided engineering assistance, which is absolutely necessary to compete and win business in this arena. Working closely with Shuster allows us to compete well in both the MRO and OE markets, and I'm very pleased with our progress at this point.
We don't just go out and get 20 bids on a ball bearing and then put it in our box. We qualify the product.
We are in the inspection room here in New Bedford, Massachusetts at the Shuster Corporation corporate headquarters. In this room, we inspect a random sampling of all the product that comes through New Bedford. This is important because it helps to ensure that 100% of the product meets the standards that are required according to our prints and our quality standards. In this room, we verify the boundary dimensions and their tolerances. We check the hardness of the bearings. We verify the surface finish, as well as any other custom requirements that are detailed on the print. This helps us to discern between different products which is the superior product and which will perform best in the field.
The benefit that you can have by using the Shuster product as the import of choice is the fact that there's a control on the quality of the product. And the factories that we use are GPC inspected and approved, and the product is also inspected at the factory and also at Shuster in New Bedford once it hits the States.
We have several customers that require or request their own individual marking put on a bearing. And it'll still be our Shuster bearing, but we'll add their name or their specific part number to a bearing.
So when you start taking a look at all of the experience, whether it's engineering experience, product identification experience, or just handling customers' needs, Shuster's got a huge amount of experience.
Each Schuster representative, sales representative, is assigned a group territory of motion branches. And they call on them to tell the Schuster story, to make sales calls with them, and to supply them with any support that they need and through us and on their own.
It's a big advantage for Motion to have somebody like Schuster as part of the company, because one of the big things out there these days that we're really concerned about and our vendors are pushing us to be more aware of are counterfeits. And one of the big things that we have an advantage of is having an internal customer or an internal vendor that is a part of Motion, that understands how important that is to make sure that we don't jeopardize our business or put us in a tough position with our customers by having sold counterfeit bearings. We know that we're going to get a solid quality product. It's a product that we're going to have in stock that's going to be available to us. And it makes it a big resource, so whenever we have a breakdown situation with a customer and we need some odd bearings that maybe it's not something that we would normally stock, we have an additional resource.
The fact that we can help the branches find the product for the customer and get them back going, get them back in production, and that's what we do every day.
And it's also great whenever you have competitive situations where we all run into areas where we have maybe some pricing on a third tier type supplier or a secondary offshore type supplier, where we now have an option to go in and really take business that we can be confident that it's going to be a quality product, that we're also supporting our own company and bringing all that in-house.
The reason our branches ought to buy Shuster or think of Shuster first is because, number one, they're a wholly owned subsidiary of Motion Industries. Second, Shuster does an outstanding job with application expertise. They will source the world for the right bearing for the right application, the right solution. And really, when it comes down to it, Schuster's more concerned about taking care of the customer and providing the right product for the application as opposed to just getting a sale. They're going to be there with you the whole way. Shuster really ought to be your first call.